friendo, Steve here. Welcome back to the channel. This past week, it was revealed that this week's SmackDown on Fox Sports 1, FS1, is going to be a Super SmackDown show, complete with Brock Lesnar and a main event of Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks. Big deal. And it was also revealed that it's going to be a half hour longer than normal, which is interesting because that half hour will run into the first half of AEW's Rampage show over there on TNT. Now, on a typical week, you got SmackDown running over here on the West Coast from 5 p.m. until 7 p.m. and then Rampage runs in that terrible time slot from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. On the East Coast, where all the people in the United States generally are, you got it from 10 p.m. until 11 p.m., which is really late at night for a lot of people who like to turn in early on a Friday night. So Rampage's ratings have been really shit lately. So it seems like this move from WWE has given AEW owner Tony Khan an opportunity to do a little bit of promoting. And so he did that on the Twitter. This is what he said on the Twitter. I saw you were doing a half hour head to head with us. I can't wait to finally beat your main show head to head. It's been a long time coming. See you next Friday for AEW Rampage on TNT. Whoa, shots fired, right? Yeah. So, of course, the funny part about this is that his Twitter then blew up with all sorts of people, both attacking him for calling out the WWE, for saying that he should be doing better things with his time, like worrying about his company, and then people defending him, saying that no, he can do this. It's totally fine. And so I thought it'd be fun to do a video where we look at whether or not we think here in the WrestleJuice community, Tony Khan is a troll or just a really good promoter. Or is he some sort of combination of the two of them? I'll give you my answer up front, and then we're going to look, this is going to be fun. We're going to look at some of the responses on Twitter, which is an absolute cesspool of a website most of the times. Sometimes you see cool stuff on it. Like I like the videos from the Dodo, which is like they show like dogs or cats that have been like abandoned and then they get rescued and good things happen. Before we dive into this subject, do me a favor. Rescue this channel from obscurity. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's continue to grow WrestleJuice. I got all sorts of merch over there at WrestleJuice.com as well. I've got a sweatshirt that's like got WrestleJuice all over it, and then also a corresponding pair of sweatpants you can get because the cold winter months are arriving. Depending on how climate change is going to treat us this year, who knows? It might be in the 90s by the time December comes along. Anyways, I want to dive into this. First up, I'm going to give you guys my take on it. I think Tony Khan has sometimes skirted a little bit over the line of troll when it comes to his tweets. I know there was a situation not long ago. It was back in May of this year that Tony Khan actually called out WWE president Nick Khan after he had talked about discussions with New Japan working with WWE. Of course, those never came to fruition. That never happened. And New Japan and AEW seem to have a pretty decent working relationship. But at the time, he tweeted this out. He says, well, Nick, this is a response to Nick Khan, I have to say, if you've been talking to New Japan Pro Wrestling for 2 months, you've gotten a lot done just in the last 2 weeks. I've had Yuji Nagata, Ren Narita, and Rocky Romero on AEW. I've reunited Roppongi Vice. I've had the New Japan IWGP US champion Jon Moxley defend the title successfully on our show, retaining it, and I have future plans with New Japan Pro Wrestling for the US title. In fact, I think there's only room for one Khan in the wrestling business, Nick, and it's me, Tony Khan. It's not some con man from Connecticut. Have a fun show tonight, Nick. See you on Dynamite. So yeah, it's kind of, I'm not sure if those kind of tweets are necessarily done in the spirit of good promotion. That being said, I think when he subtweets WWE and when he takes aim at them in a smaller, less personal way and more focusing on the product, I think he's just doing a good job as a promoter. I think he's taking an opportunity because we all know Rampage's ratings are not great. Generally speaking, there seems to be a bit of a pattern when if a Rampage show is live, if it's promoted well and something big is expected to happen, which at this point is kind of just the CM Punk episode. If those three things happen, then the episode performs pretty damn well. It never really comes close to competing with SmackDown, but let's face it, SmackDown is like WWE's juggernaut show. It's on Fox, which is a network and available on a lot more homes. Plus, it's got, generally speaking, the better creative. It's in a much better time slot. SmackDown just has everything going for it, and Rampage on a normal week really doesn't, because generally speaking, it's a taped show and not a lot happens story-wise. Probably a smart move because of that terrible time slot. It's sort of a self-perpetuating thing. It's in a bad time slot, so they don't do a lot with it. They don't do a lot with it because it's in a bad time slot. So it's sort of becoming like WCW Thunder, which actually had a pretty decent time slot, but they would tape it like 2 weeks in advance. So definitely nothing would ever happen there. So anyways, getting back to the situation at hand here, he's taking this opportunity. SmackDown running on Fox Sports 1, which is a much weaker station than TNT. And the fact that WWE is encroaching on Rampage territory. Now, if they weren't doing that, if they weren't running a half hour longer, if WWE had simply decided to pack it in and have WWE Raw and the previous SmackDown, this past Friday SmackDown, be the go-home episodes to Crown Jewel, then maybe this would be much ado about nothing. Rampage would have a serious shot at actually beating SmackDown because it's a weak show on a weak network. But they decided to go the opposite way. They decided to actually make a competitive show. Brock Lesnar is going to be on Fox Sports 1. Becky versus Sasha. It's a big match. That's going to be on Fox Sports 1. Commercial free in the final half hour of the show, which is overlapping with Rampage. But Rampage is going to be a live show. Rampage is going to feature a couple of big matches, and Rampage is going to be on TNT, which is a more sort of watched network than Fox Sports 1. So there's at least an opportunity here. And when there's opportunity, you want to build that up. And so basically what Tony Khan is doing, he's mobilizing his AEW audience, the people who are coming out, 1.1 million who watch on Dynamite, half of which, generally speaking, watch on Friday night's Rampage. And he's trying to bring that audience from Dynamite all the way to Friday nights to watch Rampage just to stick it to WWE. That's what a good promoter does. He promotes his show. And if he has to do it by firing off a fairly diplomatically worded tweet, let's take a look at this thing, because I kind of want to look at the comments too, because they're pretty funny. So he said, "I saw you're doing a half hour head to head with us." He doesn't even acknowledge WWE. He doesn't even say at WWE. He says, "I can't wait to finally beat your main show head to head. It's been a long time coming. See you next Friday for Rampage." So look, the one thing I will never fault anybody for doing is promoting their own product, saying, we have the best show. This is an opportunity we have to beat your best show. I can't wait to get it done. Now, will he get it done? I am not optimistic. I mean, WWE has a lot of things going for them, including a ton of marketing muscle. They'll be able to market the hell out of this. They already started. It's a big sort of deal head to head. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like WWE is probably going to edge out Rampage, but it probably won't be by much. I mean, SmackDown usually gets 2 million. Let's say they cut that number in half and they get 1 million, and Tony Khan's able to get everybody out for Rampage. Rampage will probably still lose by a couple 100,000, I would think, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Last time WWE went on Fox Sports 1, SmackDown did terribly, to the tune of, I don't know how many, but let's take a look here. SmackDown FS1 ratings. Let's take a look. Okay, so in December of last year, Friday Night SmackDown topped 1 million viewers on FS1, which is, like I said, half of what they usually do, but still twice as much as what Rampage did this week, which was a really bad 504,000 or something like that. So let's take a look at some of these replies here because they're hilarious. Speaking of hilarious, Deadlock, the podcast, go check it out. It's one of my favorite podcasts. James Darnell, CM Pulse, he's a great guy. And of course, he's got the sort of, I don't know if they actually arrange these by people I follow or what, but this is great. Look at this.
AEW wins again.
Oh, that's great. I love that. He's terrific. Those guys are hilarious. Let's continue here. Let's see. Jet71111 says, this cheap talk turns me off. And I say that as somebody who enjoys your product. I mean, this is childish. It distracts from the great product, in my opinion. There's nothing wrong with folks enjoying multiple companies. What's wrong with a tweet? How does this distract you from your great product? What is so toxic about his tweet that distracts you from his product? I don't know. Oh, here we go. CR7 says, this spoiled brat thinks he will defeat WWE. Has he ever succeeded in life? Relegated Fulham, same in NFL. He's a sore loser without daddy's money. Wow. Let's see here. Valeria Gallardo says, Roman Reigns, the Usos, Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, Sasha, Edge, Brock, and Finn Balor. Tony, let me know when AEW Rampage defeats SmackDown on the ratings. Dang. Anyways, I don't know. I just thought it's kind of sort of a fun, debate to have about the nature of tweeting in sports entertainment, in professional wrestling. Tony Khan, could you imagine? It feels like just a couple years ago, but it was like 3 or 4 years ago that I went to that awesome New Japan show in Long Beach. I think it was like the first time they came to the U.S. or whatever. And it was such a fun time. And it was the Los Angeles Convention Center or Long Beach Convention Center, I think. And me and Larson were there, and we were like 5 rows back or something, 3 rows back, and sitting front row with a Bullet Club shirt on was Tony Khan. And I wonder if at that time he ever thought to himself, you know what? One day I'm going to be such a figure in pro wrestling that one tweet can completely set the entire wrestling Twitter universe on fire. I love it. I think it's great. So check out. I'm curious. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below who's going to win on Friday night, right? It's like Oasis and Blur all over again. Didn't Blur win that one? But then Oasis was bigger over here. Let me know in the comments. Who do you prefer, Oasis or Blur? The answer should be Blur because they're far better. Just way, way better than Oasis. It's not even close. Anyways, watch one of these other videos. We'll talk to you guys later.